Carlo Ginzburg is a truly outstanding scholar in the humanities, known to all interested in history all over the world. But this does not explain why we seek to appoint Professor Ginzburg an honorary doctor of the European University at St. Petersburg. What explains it is the idea of kin spirit and inspiration. Among all the features we most appreciate is his courage of a pioneer who paves ways, not follows them. From the very beginning of his career, he was known for his gift of finding unexpected evidence and extracting trustworthy information from the most unreliable sources. We all remember his analysis of popular beliefs and superstitions, The World of the Miller, the ability to make Inquisition documents speak. However, finding new kind of evidence was not enough for him. He wanted to apply new methods developed in other disciplines, such as anthropology, philosophy, structural linguistics. He not only illuminated the night side of the European culture, but also sought to reconstruct the deeper structures underlying the Indo-European civilization. Complicated relationship between history and morphology of culture represents the enigmatic aspects for any historian of culture. Professor Ginzburg accepts this challenge again and again, refreshing his strength as a new entheos by touching the sources. His critics are often irritated by his unwillingness to embrace obvious conclusions based on widely accepted models such as Jungian archetypes or Marxist class struggle or high culture affecting the low culture. Ginzburg prefers seeking his God in the array of smallest details, not the devil in the detail, but the God in the detail. This favorite saying by Abby Warburg, another entheos of cultural history, Professor Ginzburg mentioned as one of the sources of microhistory, a new and very influential approach developed in his works. Switching the optics as he moves from the life of a miller to the general structures of our civilization, he solved numerous riddles and invented new ones. Touched by Professor Ginzburg, the seemingly peripheral turn into clues, revealing central problems to our understanding of the world, both in historical and in morphological perspectives. In his most recent book, Professor Ginzburg studied the feeling of reverenza. This is the reverence or the awe, as we say in the word awesome, popular among youth, the feeling that combines terror and veneration. He demonstrated how the state, embodied in the figure of Leviathan, keeps the awe in the individuals who created him. Professor Ginzburg, I believe, has never himself been mesmerized by awe generated by the state power or the power of the public opinion, the force of the paradigm. He has always defended the opinion he personally held to be true. Such a public stance deserves profound respect. It's simply awesome. There is another reason we are deeply grateful, Professor Ginzburg, for your readiness to join our community. You inspire us. The honorary degree is not only about honor that we give to you, but inspiration we're seeking in you. And this is, you inspire us, and your work feeds the spirit of the European University at St. Petersburg. And the spirit, I believe, consists in the constant dialogue between disciplines, the willingness to transcend the boundaries, to refuse to take for granted dominating paradigms, to try to step aside from the dominant ways of thought from the modes of thought that think with the help of us in order to be able to say something critical and something original. So again, we're deeply honored by your readiness to become a member of our university community, and I would like to hand you this, our traditional crystal snail, which is the symbol that we give to our most cherished members of the community. And this snail, in fact, in the age of snack culture, Twitter, SMS, and messengers, the snail symbolizes, the consistency of thought, the deep and slow thinking that leads to the foundations of our civilization. So messengers come and go, but the snail goes on. This is the symbol of our university, and I'm very glad that you're now the member of our community. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much for this warm and generous presentation, and I'm deeply touched, proud and moved by this recognition for personal reasons and for objective reasons as well. Let me say a few words about both. For personal reasons, my father, Leone Ginzburg, was born in Odessa in 1909. His family moved first to Berlin and then to Italy in 1917. He was bilingual. He translated works by Gogol, Tolstoy, Pushkin into Italian. He started an academic career teaching Russian literature in Italy, but he refused to swear the oath of allegiance to the fascist regime, and so his academic career was put to an end. He was the co-founder of the prestigious publishing house Einaudi. He committed himself to anti-fascist conspiracy, underground conspiracy. He was arrested, put on trial. He spent 2 years in jail. When Italy entered the war, he was sent to internal exile. And when the fascist regime collapsed in 1943, he went to Rome. He started again underground conspiracy under the German occupation. He was arrested. He was identified. He had a false identity, but he was identified on the basis of his previous file. And he was tortured and died in the German section of the Regina Coeli prison. He died in 1944. I was 5. I have vivid recollections of him. Unfortunately, I have no Russian. That's real pain for me. And I must say I feel guilty, and especially in this occasion. But I certainly thought about my father. And then there are the objective reasons. I'm really proud for this recognition coming from this institution. There are 2 words which came to my mind when I received this news. Intellectual rigor, on the one hand, which is so profoundly typical of this institution. And then courage, civic courage, public courage, intellectual courage as well. So I'm really grateful. This is something really special for me. Thank you.